Are you experiencing discomfort or pain while sitting? Well, you probably aren't sitting right. So check this out. Hello, my name is Rob Kollewijn. I'm going to be talking to you about properly sitting today. The first thing I want to address is there's many ways to sit. It doesn't really matter if you have no pain or no discomfort on how you sit. As you see with youth, they can sit grounded off, or in him, they sit like this, looking at the ground, or they go slide their butt way forward, and they slouch, and yeah, like sitting like a man, or they lay their leg up here. Then you have different seating material, like couches you can't really sit in properly. You have to have a chair that you can sit properly in. That is one. The second thing, you have to have the anatomy structure of your body to be right. Because you can't move, or you're too tight, you can't sit efficient, and you can't sit without discomfort. You might not know, but we have two sit bones in our pelvis. Where are these located? They're actually located on the bottom of your butt, and you feel a bony structure right there. And this guy, if he lifts his butt up, I can put it here. It is hard and it's bony, and that's called your sit bone. Here I'm going over the anatomy of a little bit of the spine. As you see, as everybody knows, we have to have a little bit of an S-curve. Here's of course the head, and here's the pelvis, right? And this curvature is positioned that way so it allows all the nerve ending to have the most outflow out of the spine. There's no impingements. The circulation is optimum. There is optimal pressure on the disc, and its position is the best. So obviously this is the efficient way of having a spine. Now in standing, this is fairly simple for most people. In sitting, there is a compromise that's going to take place because you're going to go in this direction. Your hips are going to go up. And then your curvature, as you were now in an arch, have a tendency to come into a bent position. And that's the trick, because now that pushes a lot of pressure on the structures in your lower back. How do you avoid that? Is if you sit, if you look at the two bones at the bottom here, this is your sit bone and this is your sit bone. This is your tailbone, okay? And you're sitting on these two bones. And if you sit on those two bones, instead of being here, you sit like that, right on these two bones. You keep a curvature in your back when you sit, which allows optimum position of your lower back, your spine, your disc. It keeps the circulation and the pathways of circulation and the pathways of the nerves optimum. That's why if you continue sitting on your sit bone, you don't compress your back. You can recruit all the musculature around here properly, so you have efficiency in sitting and you maintain your energy. Everybody knows when you're in pain, your energy gets drained. It's tiring. You're trying to resist it. You're trying to work around it. You want to change your position. If you're not in pain, or you can put your body in a position where it isn't in pain or in minimum pain, you'll endure longer. And that's why sitting on your sit bones work. I want him to sit on his sit bones to sit properly. So first, I want you to stand up for a second, and I just want you to sit normal, like you feel comfortable, okay? So sit down, please. Okay. So this is he's sitting like he would normally sit in a chair. Now, he's not sitting on his sit bones right now, and I'm going to demonstrate that. So this is a test that you can do at home to see if he can sit on his sit bone. And I had him take off his shirt because I want you to see where he contracts his muscles, okay? Because that will show you the efficiency of sitting. So I'm going to push him down, and I'm going to say, resist me. Now he's having a hard time, but he is a strong young man. So you see his shoulders are kicking in and hardly anything is happening over here. So if I push again, he's really working hard and it's all here. All right? So then I'm going to bend him a little bit, and now I'm going to push him sideways, and see he's moving and he can't resist me so much, even though he has all these resistive muscles in his shoulder. So he's using all this to help resist me. If I sit him a little bit more upright and I say, resist me, see what happened. It is a lot of weight that he has to fight, and he can't, and he's losing his balance. Now I'm going to correct his sitting. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you to sit on your sit bone. So I'm going to pull that bone over here back, and I'm going to pull that bone here back. Now he's sitting still off there, and you'll see he has his natural curvature coming back. Then this is what you do to test. Now you see this is contracting and not so much here. And if I go here sideways, now he can engage these kind of muscles, which you want because that's your muscle corset that takes the pressure off your spine. If I would go in the back here, he can now easily support my weight, okay? So this is the correct posture. Now, the funny part is that if I ask him to slouch, roll back, and I still sit on the sit bone, I still have that power. If I make him lean forward, and he's on his sit bone, he's still contracting this, okay? So in this position, you can change your upper back, but because you're sitting on that pelvis and those sit bones correctly, you're not impeding any functions in your lower back, and you don't have to overload the pressure on the back or on the shoulders. So that's how you sit correctly. Some people don't have this, relax for me, this flexibility in their back, okay, because their muscles are too tight. Then you go to see a physical therapist or somebody that can correct the tightness of those muscles and restore the range of motion. The other thing is sometimes you have chairs that are too soft, so you can't sit on your sit bones, so you can't find your stability, like couches and stuff like that. But in general, most chairs will accommodate you pretty well. It ultimately comes down to, can you sit on your sit bones? What could be helpful sometimes, you use a towel roll and you place that at the edge of the railing that goes up and the seat, and you say, okay, lift your butt up and sit on top of it as far as you can, all the way on top of it. Now you can do it especially in a car. Now he's sitting on top of it and he doesn't have to pull his butt back because this automatically tilts his pelvis forward. And I go like that and I push him sideways and everything corrects. Now other thing I could do is I take this away. This is a very handy tool for long distance riding. You imagine if you sit on your ridge called the sit bone, and what if I made that ridge a triangle? So here's the sit bone on the bottom, and I made a triangle, and I created a support basically in the back. So you get a small cushion or whatever you have, and you put that as the extra support here. Now you have a triangle, one support in the back and two supports on your sit bone where he sits on. If you sit on your sit bone, you get that automatic position, and then you can use his core muscles to provide the support to sit correctly and avoid any sciatic pains or back discomfort or stomach discomfort or even pain in your neck over here, which shows up from sitting a lot of times if you work on a computer because you're not supported from here. So now he has to do it himself, so I'm asking him to stand up. And now have yourself sit down, just sit down normal. And now correct yourself by grabbing your sit bone and pulling it back. Good. And the other one, good. And as you see, he's pulling it back and he brings his thigh a little bit back. So he's sitting correctly now. I can see that on his spine and I can test him again. And now this is engaging and I can push him again this way and he's not falling off his chair. Now he can do that leaning forward, hold stable, because he sits on his sit bone. He can slouch in the chair and I push and this is still engaging, simply because he gives the right information to his body. He can do that on the edge of his chair. Stand up, go sit on the edge of your chair. And now go sit on your sit bone by pulling it back. Good. Good. It doesn't matter, she is still strong. As this is engaging. He can slouch all the way back and it's still strong, and because this is what's engaging. Okay, so you can sit all the way back, all the way forward. He's keeping the perfect curvature. And this is how you do that.